Well, it's that time of year again. What time of year do you say? I honestly have no idea. But, yeah. Just listen to Cosmic Chronicles, the podcast where we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, who chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we will not be covering any new chapters because it's another bonus episode. So we will be covering some Mistborn, The Well of Ascension, 1-star reviews. So now it's time to sit back, and I'll throw it over to the host of Cosmic Chronicles. This is Joe! What up, everyone? It's another bonus episode, and as you heard, it's for Well of Ascension. We're doing 1-star reviews again, and yeah. So, Justin, Sheta, how are you two feeling about these?
Terrible. I don't want to do them. The last few we did were just awful. Some of the stupidest opinions I've ever heard in my life were in some of those.
I really hate these. I don't want to do it. I didn't sign up for this, Joe.
Good. That makes it all the more entertaining to hear your thoughts as you hear these. And one thing to keep in mind, unlike, Elantris and Final Empire, those could have simply been books that somebody picked it up. This is Well of Ascension, meaning at this point, they have already read through an entire book. They've read Final Empire.
I mean, assumedly so. Some of these people are so dumb, I could see them just reading this book by mistake and then complaining about it.
Yeah, most of them have probably read the first one, and I'm going to guess most of them will probably have liked it. Some of them may not have liked it, but just feel like, well, I read one, I've got to read the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that's my problem, but,
Yeah.
Like people who get mad, like, oh, great, now to finish it, to see how the story goes, and they're really mad about it, and they write about it.
Yep, so I got, this time I did make sure, so all the Amazon ones are 1-star reviews. I don't have any 2-star reviews like I did last time by accident. Yeah, all 1-star reviews from either Amazon or Goodreads. So, let's get started with this.
Here.
Can't wait.
I don't want to do them. I hate them.
All right. So here's the first one. I am baffled. I looked at all the good reviews, and it seems like a scam. How do people like this? Horrible ending to the book. I will not read the third. Brandon Sanderson has emotionally abused me. Wrote a book that felt so slow to get through. Felt like things finally picked up at 70% through the book, and then Sanderson got lazy, killed a bunch of people for no good reason, and put the Well of Ascension in Luthadel instead of writing a cool adventure story or journey. So freaking lame.
And he was really pumped when Sazed says the well was in the mountains, huh?
Oh yeah, he was looking forward to that kids' vacation that I was talking about. School trip.
I am hurt, furious, and angry. I feel like I wasted my time. I like the first book a lot. I was hoping for a good experience with this one. I am so confused as to why people like this book. And that's the end of the review.
So he doesn't like it because they didn't go on an adventure and because a lot of characters died. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, well, looked like he thought it was slow, picked up 70% through, and then says that Brandon Sanderson got lazy, killed people for no good reason, and did not do a journey.
Got lazy? We were building up to this war the whole time.
I would say
what happened.
Yeah, that this was pretty much the only way things could go based on what the book had set up. So it's really interesting to see this guy disagree.
You mean be wrong?
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Well, not wrong, because he didn't say anything objectively wrong except that Sanderson got lazy. I'm sorry you didn't get your adventure book. You clearly wanted to, oh, wow, they're going to go on an adventure. Why is everybody dying? Fuck this book. I don't know why you expected things to go well. I always expected things to be pretty horrible, so I'm sorry you were emotionally abused.
He has emotionally abused me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at your abuse. I'm sorry.
I am.
Maybe, some people have very sensitive, they're they.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone who couldn't finish How to Train Your Dragon 2 and has never finished it because it got too emotional and that was too much.
What? What? Huh?
Even though
I
they
don't remember
love
that movie getting that emotional.
they love How to Train Your Dragon 1, but they just have not and will plan to never finish the second movie. Like, so see,
Remind me, what was more emotional in the second movie that wasn't in the first movie?
Well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's just, real life stuff,
So
characters, maybe.
what's the movie? It's like what, 90 minutes?
Yeah.
And 2 hours? They couldn't get through that much because it got too emotional in a
Yep.
children's movie.
Yeah. And they're not a kid. But yeah,
All
some
right.
people don't have that constitution. So I guess.
All right, so let's go on to the next one. Wow, what a mess. A love triangle and the least romantic wedding of all time. I didn't come here for this. And then they
I
have
didn't know
bullet
that the
points.
here for this was going to be added into that, Joe.
What?
I didn't
Oh.
know that the here for this was going to be added onto the end of that when you started talking. I was worried for a second.
Now they're bullet points. Vin and Elend have no chemistry. The only way I know Vin and Elend love each other is because they periodically think it to themselves in narrative.
I don't know about that.
I'd say
I
their
feel like-
actions
Oh, go.
prove that a lot.
Yeah, I'd say their actions and the ways that they, the things they have that the other one doesn't have that they value in, all that stuff. I wouldn't say that.
The moment Vin killed Zane and flew to Ellen's arm was the most romantic and cute thing you could do. And it was so girly and feminine of her to do.
Sheta, I need to remind you of their first sentence. And the least romantic wedding of all time.
What wedding? What?
They had a
Oh
quick
yeah.
wedding with
Okay,
Sazed.
Right after Vin ran to him.
I see. How is that not romantic? That is like she was so sure of him that she just wanted to be married, and she knew that he wanted to be married to her, and she was like, "Yeah, let's just do it right now." It was
Really? Are they saying that this is less romantic than the marriage of Tyrion and Sansa?
yeah, now that is sad.
Vin and Elend have a terrible relationship where they are both very bad at communicating and thinks neither of them deserve the other.
Yeah, I read the book.
Yeah,
I know they
yeah,
have that problem. That was addressed in the book many times.
that was a big theme of this book.
Yeah, communication was the big theme, yeah.
Zane's
Well,
god voice was never explained except to say that he was crazy. It's not fully clear why Vin was supposed to save him.
Did they read the book? Did they say if they finished it? Like,
I assume so. They don't.
They specifically say, literally, "You are not crazy." Haha.
And the reason why Vin was supposed to save him was because Vin was the only voice he ever heard that did not say
Yep.
kill her.
Oh yeah, they said that
Yeah.
in the book. Yeah, you're right.
God. See, this is why these piss me off, because they're just wrong. And they say it so righteously. And I'm like, how can you say these things?
Yeah,
How
welcome
can
to
you
the internet, Sheta.
this is why I stay off the internet. Like, I cannot handle it. And I hate being exposed to this. I don't understand how you can type something that is incorrect. Like,
Alrianne and Breeze, real gross.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, at least,
Alrianne becomes a throwaway character at the end.
Definitely not. She's an integral part to them having things go the way they did, I would say.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, I just disagree.
I kind of forgot they got married in the middle because it's not important and not mentioned ever again.
That's just strange. So he or she was reading a love story for the first book and then expected it to, I don't know, have like a very pretty Twilight type wedding thing of some sort. Is that what they were looking for?
Mm, I I don't understand. See, this is why. What is the point of understanding something that was so poorly thought out? Like,
Well, I wonder. I'm trying to
there's
understand their
you
complaint and what
cannot.
it was they were looking for. I think that they were very invested in the romance. And when it was actually secondary to the rest of the plot, like the actual big world stuff, and this was just one of the things in it, they were disappointed because I imagine they had to hope that it was working towards some big, like maybe they really liked all the balls in the first book and that kind of stuff. And when there's like almost none of that, they were disappointed. That's my only guess that I can think of.
Okay, hello. I am invested in the romance, in the characters, and I thought the way they got married was the only way they would get married. I can,
Well, I agree with the way this book went. I'm just trying to imagine how somebody who has different aesthetic tastes would hate it so much.
they are not reading the right book then.
Lots of people will use you and leave you to Vin, and Vin being like, no, I have friends and we trust each other, which was hammered home 50 different times.
Well, it was the theme of the book. That's all I have to say there.
Yeah.
Who was the first person to eat chunks of metal for funsies?
Okay, so they did finish the book. That's good to know. Yes, for fun. You can ask that about anything. How did we find out you can't eat metal in real life? Somebody tried at some point. How do we know you can't digest grass? That would be my response.
Yeah, who did that first? That is a really
Also,
boring question to ask.
yeah, I don't think it's an interesting question to know, but it definitely wasn't probably for fun. Like, oh yeah, some metal.
Ugh.
Also, this is an ending where a person gets like the knowledge of God for a few moments, so that's a very stupid complaint. That's the one that's not aesthetics at all. That's just stupid. Why are we doing this?
That's what I missed. Ugh. I hate these. Oh, do people like these?
Oh, I love listening to this kind of stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah, I do too. I just don't like to be the one.
It's funny to watch people's brains be in pain at sheer
Yeah,
bizarre
that's why
stupidity.
in Practical Jokers is such a successful show. You just watch the guys be tortured and
Hurt themselves, right? Basically.
yeah, put in situations that just make you cringe and feel
I was
bad.
thinking of like Mystery Science Theater or something where they're just like, oh God, no.
Is Joe there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, he's there.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's go on to the next review then. Boring. Even worse than the first book in the series.
Every time you start these up, Joe, I'm like, wanna punch you.
That's why we do not do the podcast in person.
Why do they have to say it in such a douchey and like, ugh?
They're just being straightforward.
No, I just don't like such negativity.
I'm just curious to find out why they read this book. I'm very curious after starting that way.
All right.
I avoid these. I don't like looking at it. Oh my gosh.
What the characters thought, the actions those characters took, the baffling unintelligence of the characters in general, the story in its entirety, the pacing, the shallow and unimaginative politics, the newly introduced...
I swear, if you don't give me an example, I am going to punch this guy. I hate when people just say a complaint and don't give an example. It's maddening. Can't just say the characters were so stupid without telling me in what way they were. So I'm hoping. Go on.
The newly introduced cardboard characters, Sazed and his ridiculous metal mines, foreshadowing fails, the amateur mystery plot of the imposter, the never-ending sparring sessions, pushing and pulling off coins in endless repetition, the 600 to 700 pages of padding, dialogue on par with an episode of Paw Patrol.
Oh my god,
this is so funny coming from a guy who writes a review this boring and repetitive and shallow and empty.
Some of these people think they're so entertaining.
Oh my god, he's not. He's giving me almost no information at all.
You're saying nothing. You are not saying anything. It's just a list of negative, vague complaints.
Tell me,
Yeah.
you see with the last person, I was more fair. I'm like, okay, they didn't like this for this. They told
Yeah,
me why. This
personal,
guy,
like-
oh, God. And I'm going to be honest, Paw Patrol is an immensely successful show. I don't think that's a very, act comparison. If you can make something like Paw Patrol, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, Paw Patrol's fucking successful.
The failure to properly deliver the final epic battle, including a grinding halt during which Sanderson described in painstaking detail how Vin can skip along using horseshoes.
Okay,
Everything
at least he gave an example, as stupid as that is.
Everything in this book was pure and utter stupidity. This is unbelievably bad for such a popular book. Overhyped trash.
Okay,
End of review.
This is the main complaint I have. People who complain about his books and being like, I don't get it. I don't get why people don't like it, and saying that's overhyped. There's a weird bitterness in there about why it's so popular. Like people who just hate popular things and want to yell at anyone who would be a fan of it. It's like because they can't.
To be fair, when you something's so popular and you're like, oh, I'll give it a try, and then you're like, why the fuck does anyone like this? That can be frustrating. It's the way it's worded, you know?
Yes. I have plenty of things I feel like that about. But you know what? It's not for me. I will never understand it. It's okay, you know? I don't go out and be like this.
No,
I'm
you're allowed to
correct.
give shit. You're getting too angry. You're allowed to give negative reviews. Just if you're going to
Yes,
go
of
write it
course.
down, give us anything to work with. At least the horseshoe thing, they did in fact give us some information. And I think, wow, that is so dumb. If she just, and what would you say instead? She's like, I can't make it. Oh, I know, horseshoes. And then you never get any explanation and she's just there. That would have been very unsatisfying.
And this is something that is in Vin's character to do. Like, she has been super creative with her powers since the beginning and stuff. Like, to have her use her problem-solving skills again to do this at such a crucial point is a really fun character thing that she's still doing, just to remind us that, like, it came into clutch at a serious moment. Like,
And Joe, did it actually say end of review at the end, or did you just add that in?
I added that because I noticed our other ones. I would start the next review and you guys would be confused thinking I was continuing.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing that for you.
Yeah, that's for you.
Say it in a
Dustin.
different voice so I don't give them the props of saying something exciting.
Mic drop.
Yeah, because that's kind of badass. But no, the way he did it, oh, God.
All right, next one. This one's a short one. And even though the book claims it is not young adult, it really is. And the main protagonist, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to yell at her. So much teenage angst. And that's it.
Well, I've always thought this was kind of shared a lot in common with young adult books. I don't know that I'd say she had teenage angst. That's weird. Maybe some existential nihilism a bit, but
I thought
brutal
it
trust
was
issues.
yeah, or a street urchin basically learning to make friends again.
Yeah.
Not teenage angst. But
No, I wouldn't say that. Also,
the
is there
first time-
something wrong with young adult books? They're all just books, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you could say that the Hobbit was a teenage book. Like, he was relatively young when he started out on that journey. Like,
people just have a sort of just irrational hatred for young. If you say young adult, people immediately just assume it's bad.
That's so dumb.
I've noticed that with people talking about young adult, they're like, it's stupid. Then there are also people who claim that it's not a real genre.
That's dumb though, because all of it's just marketing. It's not a real thing at all, you know?
Yeah, it's
because I've read some, adult books that are pretty fucking stupid and some young adult books that are, pretty damn smart. So,
yeah.
And, some straight up kids things that are smarter than things for grown-ups.
Are freaking profound as heck,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. Oh, my goodness. See, this is the thing. I don't understand because I don't think like that. Like, I don't think of genres and titles and things, and I don't have that color what I think of things. So I can't even think like that.
No, that's you're falling for the system, man. You got to free your mind.
Yeah. And your soul will be freed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go on to this next one. Do I have to give this book a star? It doesn't deserve one.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Don't worry about spoilers. Nothing happens in this book. There's nothing to spoil. Final Empire was so great. I read it through the night and then suffered the consequences of work on no sleep the next day. It was worth it. Thoroughly enjoyable. Though I think if Kelsier had winked one more time, he would have developed some kind of eyelid spasm. It was his only conversational response for the latter half of the novel. Excessive winking aside, excellent book. Then I wasted my money, time, and sanity on The Well of Ascension.
Why? I want to hear so bad.
Oh,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
These books are the literary equivalent of letting a random buy you a drink at the bar. The first bit's great. You enjoy the drink and some small talk. But then they start whining and following you around. And you don't feel like you can get rid of them because you did enjoy the first drink.
What? I don't think that metaphor plays to everybody. That sounds like a very specific him problem.
If you like whining, The Well of Ascension is the book for you. Vin whines about whether she is good enough for whatever his face I stop caring, and would clearly rather be boinking his maniac half-brother in the mist. Whatever his face whines about whether Vin really likes him anymore, and both of them agonize over this, and their worth as people, for the first 85% of the book. This was the point at which I deleted it from my iPad out of sheer boredom.
Oh, he didn't finish it?
I guess not. Who knows? Maybe in that latter 15%, a story arrived to the party late with a few beers. And, some suspense, action, maybe a joke or two. Pretty much anything other than teenagers wondering whether they like each other, but, are they worth liking? Because if they don't like each other, maybe they're not worth liking. Ugh.
Man, this guy missed out on the exact part he would have been interested in.
Well,
seriously, bottom 5 books I've ever read. And I read Twilight. Don't bother.
I don't understand how this guy could have possibly read Twilight and compared to Twilight calls Vin whiny. Dear God, Twilight is nothing but whining. It's nothing but it all through all the books. Compared to that, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, you get a reprieve when you go kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, you get some action. In Twilight, nothing happens ever, so that's funny. So he just didn't. I'm trying to remember what percentage of the book was actually even talking about relationship stuff. Because I know it was a pretty good deal of it, but I wouldn't. In my memory, it's not as much as this guy is implying.
It is. For me. It is a lot of it was the main thing that was going on, but I don't know. But maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. I just don't think it's what they're saying it is.
No, I don't think so. I can't remember it being like that. Because that is a huge theme of it. It's really strange to me that he'd hate that so much when the first book was a lot about their relationship,
Yes.
And they're continuing those things and he doesn't like it anymore. That was all in the first book.
Yes.
You would want to see that continue.
This is Vin's continuing story on trusting. And it's at another level, a romantic level.
Yeah.
It shows how much she's grown and matured, and trusting someone like that, romantically, is a lot harder than just as a friend, So that's why it's continued. It's her continued growth. So, and it's explored in the same ways as her opening up to being friends with Kelsey in the first book. It's, it's just continuing building that trust. So I think it's important, and it is not just random.
Yeah, I agree. I think most people would agree with you. I think you should have finished it, man. I think you would have enjoyed the ending if you or at least the action stuff, if that's what you were looking for.
I get it when you also have a guess about where something is going, and if you're not liking it. I've definitely read books like that where I'm like, come on, is it going anywhere, or what is the payoff for all this?
Yeah.
And if it goes on too long, you kind of start getting annoyed and looking at your watch basically about but I don't think it was like that in here. I think it was
No.
pretty interesting.
And wait, he's giving it a 0 because of that? Jesus. That's
So
really
again,
extreme.
Twilight, you read Twilight and you think this is,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What fucking rating did he give Twilight? My God.
Like, I love Twilight, but it is just that. It is what he's describing. Just a bunch of him and hawing, will they, won't they kind of thing. To
Oh,
a
so that's what
freaking,
happened. He's
like,
traumatized
degree.
by
Oh.
Twilight. Twilight had so much of that. He's like, I will never be tricked by that again. I thought this was going to be a cool book about werewolves and vampires.
No, I don't know why you would think. I don't know. That is the entire book. Is just that, and that's what people. If you read Twilight, you're into that. Otherwise, you're
Wow.
not reading it. You know, I mean, if you read Twilight and you like it and you want to keep reading it.
Okay, we'll go to this next one. Vin is so fucking stupid. It was
Jeez.
it was so obvious that finding the well was a bad idea. So obvious. And yet she did it anyway. In fact, Sazed is stupid too for encouraging her to do this. How did he not figure out it was a bad idea?
They were clearly the entire time being manipulated, and we were not. It wasn't clear on purpose.
Was it a
right?
bad idea? It could have, you can do some real good from it. Releasing the power was definitely a bad idea, but
we did not know all the details. That was the point, you know.
Yeah. It was purposely written for 2 books. All we kept hearing was you had to go there and release the power. That keeping the power was a trap set, and that's all you heard. So of course Vin thought that releasing the power was a good idea because that's what we've learned for the past 2 books. Not until the very end that Sazed realizes, shit, something's going on. So I don't think this person understood what was going on. And, I don't think they realized that Vin doesn't have a mental connection to Sazed, so when he figures this out, he just tells her through telepathic means, Vin, don't do that.
And the other thing is, we're looking at it from a much bigger perspective. It was becoming, like we were talking about, how it was probably a bad thing at the end for them to do this stuff, But they're inside this world. They're not coldly, clinically looking at it from afar, Like, it actually matters to them if they live or die. If they live or die for us, it's just, oh, that sucks, Like, that's a really strange critique. Especially since they thought they'd find the atrium in the well, or they hoped they would. They hoped it would solve, have a lot of stuff.
To Vin, like, all that was left was the well. Like, they were out of options. Everything was pointing towards the well. Like, they didn't have any other answers or any other thing. Like, I think it was just obvious to at least check it out and see what it is, There was nowhere else to go. Like, what do you expect? Oh, the rest of the book, they just keep sitting in the city, not looking for the well. Like, I don't know what else they could have done. Isn't that the name of the book? Like,
yes.
Okay, there you go too. Like,
to be honest, I've never particularly loved Vin as a protagonist. Didn't hate her either. I thought she was just fine, but after this book, I just want someone to put her out of her misery.
Jesus! Put her out of her misery? Holy moly.
And it wasn't just Vin that was frustrating either. Elend was almost just as bad. What about Elend, other than the fact that he reads books and has big ideas, leads to him becoming king? In fact, how did anyone buy into him as a leader? Yeah,
they didn't. That was the plot.
The story did explain how exactly he became king. He was the only
he got
person
there, why he got kicked out, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, viewer, I felt the same way. Like, why did he get to be king? And by reading the book, I got an answer. Like,
this is the equivalent of some nerd becoming the quarterback of a high school football team. Ridiculous.
What? No. At the metaphor, you'd say that it would be some high school freshman becoming the lead of the NFL team. That would be a better comparison. Somebody who's at least in the field of it.
He can't speak authoritatively. He doesn't have good posture. He lacks confidence. And he had to be told all these things by a MILF. I don't get it.
Okay.
Wow.
2 things. 1, that was the plot. 2, I never envisioned her as a MILF. I just saw her as an older
Dang.
woman. I
This
didn't
person
know that
must
you
have
had
been
such a thing for Tyndall. That's why
distracted the
he's
whole
so
time.
pissed. Because he wanted to see more of her.
And,
I never thought I would hear Tyndall be called a MILF in my life.
and we're supposed to believe he helped bring down the final empire? I know we saw in the first book, but it's still hard to believe. You know, he really
What?
didn't.
He did
Yeah,
not.
wait, what? In what way did he help bring down the final empire? Well, the most he did was he made the aftermath less bad, I'd say. The actual bringing it down, that's crazy.
Or the only part I could say that he helped bring it down was he helped come there and help Vin escape. Then she was able to go kill the Lord Ruler.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike Vin. I dislike Elend. I hate Zane. The story was all over the place. The pacing was slow, and the ending was the icing on the shit cake. I had to take a break from reading it and struggled to get it finished until I forced myself to plow through the last 100 or so pages. For me, this is my least favorite book I've read this year.
Well, okay. Sounds like he reads a lot at the least. Doesn't sound like he's really that good at picking up on the ideas and themes of a book, though.
I don't want to be mean, so sometimes I've just had enough, and I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna say it.
Jesus.
I'm not gonna say it. It's too mean. I don't want to get in trouble.
You know, if they hated this book, I doubt they're listening to this podcast.
Oh, I don't mean that. I don't want people to think I'm just like a bitch. Like I don't like a dang, she's cold. Wait, you know what? They're just stupid. I don't like hearing stupid people's opinion. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, you are not smart enough to understand these things. You didn't understand something, you read it wrong. So I just don't want to hear it. I'm not going to waste my time with your ignorant and uneducated opinion about something.
Next review. So frustrating to read, and I don't know how I did it considering it's the longest book I've read in a long time. I went back to being incredibly annoyed at Ven because I couldn't stand her insecurity issues. Because her insecurities are literally just about her relationship with Elend. I understand insecurity kind of comes with being a teenage protagonist, but it's wild how she has no doubts about her skills as a Mistborn / her position relative to everyone else in the kingdom. But for the most part, it was
What?
all just,
She definitely does, though. Her position, especially. That's strange.
yeah.
She's uncomfortable with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They've said it
I
all.
fully agree that she has no doubts about her skills as a Mistborn, but I don't think that she needs to have doubts with that. That's because that's what she believes she is.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it was all just, wah, Elend saw me kill someone and he's gonna hate me anyway, so why does he even stay with me?
Elend saw me headbutt a guy so hard his head exploded. What a whiny bitch, huh?
And he had
Oh
horror
my
on his
god,
face.
kid.
Like,
I think my makeup smeared when I did it. Oh no.
oh no, he saw me with no makeup. Does he like me?
OMG, also the whole Vin wears a dress. He doesn't know this isn't really me. Ugh, this is young adult novel, for real.
Wug, how can you say that? Okay, this is a theme in the previous books too, where she is trying to figure out who she is, like, in a different way. It's not, okay, people who just label something and immediately place it in a category without thinking of any other, where thinking of it, it could fall in any other place but that. Like, it's either a young adult novel or it's a grown-up novel with none of these themes or ideas in it. Like, it cannot be anything in between. That's all I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, it does, yeah. Again, they're too brainwashed by genre. It doesn't mean
that's
anything,
what it is.
right? That's what
That's
you're
what
saying.
it is. Yes. Because, like, oh, she's talking about a dress. She's a 15-year-old girl. It's a young adult novel. Like, can you not say those things and have it be something else? Like, because she also talks about a lot of other stuff in the same realm, and I just am so annoyed. And also, like, saying that like it's a disparaging, like, ugh, like okay, you're just making things less enjoyable for yourself. You're getting rid of things you could potentially have that would be something you could learn. Instead, you're just writing it off like it's not worth it because you think it's, oh, now it's a young adult novel. That's not worth anything, you know? I don't think you're doing yourself any favors by thinking like that. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Speaking of Vin and Elend, are the most insufferable couple because their communication skills are so bad.
Oh my
I hate
God,
them
I'm
because
getting
the
tired
age
of that one.
You'll probably hear it a bunch.
Oh my
I hate them
God.
because the age difference is clear. In the beginning, every time Vin is like, I don't get books. Why would anybody want to read? And Ellen just loves that.
What?
And I do think Ellen should be with someone different. They don't really challenge each other in a way that matters, and I have never rooted for them. Felt like something that just had to happen to tie everything together.
They certainly challenge each other they certainly challenge each other immensely because they're forced to think about how they think of other people, how they think of themselves, and their place or what that says about they have to change a lot to be with each other. That's what I'm trying to say about themselves for the better. So that's a strange complaint to me.
You don't have to have things in common with someone to get along with to be a good match. A lot of the opposites attract thing is for a purpose. You complete each other and make each other better and stronger with whatever you lack and whatever they have strength in. So I don't think
Yeah.
that's a real complaint.
Yeah, clearly they missed Sazed's whole lock and key metaphor.
Aha! Exactly. Which they even said in the book.
All right.
Okay, are we done? I don't want to
No,
talk anymore.
this one I still have more. Ellen's character also just randomly killing people, his childhood best friend, when he can still barely fight makes no sense.
He trained a bunch.
Yeah, how can he barely fight? He absolutely can fight by this point. Now it sounds, yeah, the childhood friend one is interesting because I could see how somebody,
I thought that.
even though they pretty much spell it out, they could kind of, feel pretty shocked by that, but I feel like they pretty much spell out what was, Ellen literally says what he was going through and how sudden it was for him, what he was thinking,
And because I felt that too. I'm like, it was for a purpose. It was shocking, and it showed Ellen's where he's at now in his head. This is in this book we see it. He is learning what he has to do to be a good leader. Like he has to be more brutal. Has to be more like take charge. Make those decisions that no one else will, or if he feels as his responsibility and stuff.
Yeah.
I was very shocked by that too, but now I really understand. Oh, I even didn't like that and had a whole stink about it. But now I really see it connecting to this current book. So I don't know,
That's true, it does.
you're not the writer, you're just here for the show. Sometimes you have to trust the process a bit about where it's going. So,
I don't think that makes sense for Ellen, considering that he will literally let his enemies do whatever they want in his court. But he hears about how his childhood friend Jasty's entire family were murdered, and he's like, okay, die with no remorse.
Incorrect. That didn't happen like that.
Yeah, that's definitely not my reading of it.
Yeah, it's not, my family died. All right, I'll kill you, and I won't feel anything bad about it. It was more, my family died? Yeah, but you also brought an entire army of Koloss to Luthadel, and then let them loose. I'll kill you, and now feel really bad about it.
He asked him to not do this. He went into the camp and was like, don't do this, dude. Like, and he didn't listen. And now it's a huge mess, and a lot of people are gonna die. Like, a lot of people have been
he's
killed
running
already.
away,
Yes, and he's cowardly running away. He's not stable. He's, he's responsible directly for ending the lives of so many people. Irresponsible. He's done. Like,
Right.
incorrect.
Also, even if you wanted to do that as a reading of that was a bad thing for him to do, you could put yourself in his mind and imagine what he was thinking. To say that
That's what I mean,
To
yeah.
say that he just did it for no reason is strange, To say I don't understand why he did that, or I think that was very bad of him to do, I think it's definitely... they went to lengths to explain it in the book. That's all I'm saying,
I thought it was really harsh and crazy and out of nowhere, but he did explain that exactly, like his thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That, and why did he create a law that lets you change your vote if you're on the assembly after everyone has literally said theirs out loud? That makes no sense.
Yeah, that was already talked about in the book about
The
why he did it. Sorry, go ahead.
The
He
quasi
just
love
clearly
triangle.
wanted everyone. Oh, he just clearly wanted everything to be like above board and like there's no trickery. It's a true democracy. That's why I would say he would have a rule like that.
Yep, it was very clear the kind of person Elend was and the kind of government he wanted to have. I don't understand why you're even saying that. Like, sorry.
The quasi love triangle with Zane. A figure. I have no idea. It's just
I'm
a
sorry,
bunch of
what?
letters.
What did I miss?
I think they must have hit something on their keyboard because it's the
Oh, they can't
quasi
even
love
be
triangle
bothered.
with Zane, and then it's just a bunch of letters. It's like
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
something
Let's see.
like Zane is just Vin from the first book, but worse because he's fundamentally one-dimensional as a character.
Are they
Is
saying like
Insanity
a fucker like Zane and censoring themselves? Is that it?
I don't know.
I think, is it like they're expressing how frustrated they are? Is that what it looks like?
You have to realize this whole thing. There are no capital letters in this review.
Oh god, it's one of those.
I figured.
That's an immediate don't read for me.
Not
Comment or
worth your
review. I'm just
time.
like, yeah, no. If you can't capitalize a single letter, does he have paragraph breaks?
Do you have
Yeah,
periods?
Okay, that's
Commas?
something at least.
yeah. There are periods, but other stuff like when I said for real earlier, it was just FR.
Oh god. No
Oh my
thanks.
god.
All right.
Sorry to be judgmental, but
No, fuck that
I
shit.
don't care what this person has to say.
Yeah.
His insanity gimmick is uninspired, and he's not even a foil to Elend because there's nothing to him. Like, all it does is reiterate Vin needs to learn to trust and believe in that trust no matter what. But as a narrative device, boring. No stakes. And Orseer / Tensoon being the Kandra spy in the end, also having no consequences because it was just Zane's spy anyways. And who cares considering literally everyone had a spy.
No,
It doesn't.
no.
What?
Let me finish this paragraph. It doesn't
Can't
even
piss
seem
me
like
off this hard.
it doesn't even seem like there were any consequences to Tensoon's betrayal. Zin wouldn't have done anything with the info till the end, and we all knew he'd lose to Vin. Like, Elend doesn't even end up learning about him. There's no conflict there. What's the point? Or what was the point?
So, the point of the spy? What? I
Yep,
feel
they
like
said
I missed something in this guy's train of thought somewhere.
Yep, they said that there was no consequences to Orseer being the Conjure spy because it led to nothing.
What about it leading to her finding out how to control the Koloss?
You can say that about anything that happens ever. Like it. I don't know why you're asking this question. Like
it was a very important role of the entire story. It led to them not being able to manipulate Straff at Elend's meeting with Straff because Straff knew what Elend's plan was in that meeting. It led to Zane knowing about Duralumin.
Yep, this is not even a fully thought out question. Like
it's literally how they defeated the Koloss in the end, was Vin knowing that from getting close enough with Orseer, and then very specifically having that part where Orseer basically told her how to do it. If you didn't have that, she wouldn't have been able to, save the day at the end.
Or that review also led to Vin defeating Zane.
Mm-hmm.
Many, many things, many reasons.
And
I don't
we can also
know.
see in this third book, it's also leading to an entire plot line of Hero of Ages.
Yeah.
Again, with the trust the process, you're not the fucking writer, so just wait, just read it. Like I don't understand. These things are happening, and you're not gonna know.
Sheta, don't you understand? These readers are smarter than the author.
Yes, it seems like they are. Mm-hmm. You can tell by how well
they write a lot of reviews, so they must know a lot of good about writing.
I don't envy people who are like this. They must be having such unsatisfying lives. So
the twist at the very end, also not really a twist. I don't know why Vin went ahead and did all that without consulting Sazed first, considering they talked about it before. Also, why did Tyndall have to die? She was the only other female character that mattered. I'm still not convinced that Alrianne will really do all that much because I've just skimmed the parts of her trying to get her dad to save everyone.
What?
How
What?
can you
Okay,
say
you're
that and
out.
not read
You're
it?
out.
Yep.
If you just skimmed that, what
Disqualified.
else did you skim? No. Review. No. Review. Oh,
Invalid.
what?
Invalid.
Yes. Invalid review. The second you say you skimmed stuff and you'd like. I don't think she'll do that much because I skimmed her chapters. That doesn't really make sense.
Why would you review this? I don't know.
And I found out I was wrong. There was the word all in the middle of that sentence was capitalized.
In the middle of the sentence, huh?
Yep. And when I said, in the twist at the end was not really a twist, really was just RLY.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they skim a lot
I do
of
hate
things.
people who write like that.
Upset because this was long and boring and I skimmed through much of it. But, anyways, I need to read something else.
You mean skim through?
Yeah, skim through something. That's the fastest way to get through
See,
a book,
when you don't
Here, let me help you
put
save
the
some
effort in.
time. Just Wikipedia and read what happened.
Yeah, you're not putting the effort in and the mental commitment to something. You're not going to get out what is intended there. Like, it's not just going to throw it all into you. It's a book because you have to read it, put it in your brain, absorb it, and that's a whole experience. You can't skim through things. Like, people like that don't understand. What do you want from this? Is what I want to like. What are you trying to get from
Yeah,
these
what is
books?
your
Like, what are you
goal
even
here?
trying
Yeah.
to read? If you don't if you're just skimming and stuff, like you need something else. Like, I can't.
All right. 1 star for Orseer bullying Vin and for Tyndall bullying Elend. Also, what the hell are Lagets?
Huh?
Lagets. I have no idea what that is.
When did they use it?
I don't know.
I mean, they are in Roman.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
What are
I
you-
found it on
Like in Roman.
Coppermind
Oh,
from
okay.
a single chapter. Lagets are a form of food eaten in the Final Empire. A cook brought Sazed a meal that consisted of steamed barley, strips of steak, and spiced lagets.
Okay.
So I guess this one word used with a bunch of other food messed this person up so much.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so
don't even know what to say.
All right. Justin, any last thoughts on that review, or are you just done
I don't
with
think
it?
I heard that review. I think I cut out. I heard you guys talking about Lagets. I don't know what was said before that. Was that the
I just
same
meant the
one or a
entire
new one?
review. Yeah.
That was the same review? What did they say about Lagets? I'm very curious.
They're just like, also, what the hell are Lagets?
Let's see.
Oh, okay. And the answer is just a food of some kind?
Yes. It was just
so
mentioned
this is the
one
skimmer,
time.
right?
Yes.
So they skim it, but they picked up on a thing I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But that word they saw fucked them up that much.
I guess so.
I mean, okay, if you skimmed it, you missed a bunch of stuff. Like,
yeah, how do you know you didn't miss the explanation of Lagets?
I wouldn't have felt safe to ask that. When like, oh, you don't know? That came into clutch like at the end, and you just skimmed it, so you missed out on what that was. Like, honestly, I feel like a lot of these complaints are from people who have like maybe mental disorders like ADHD or something like that.
No,
where
I don't give them that excuse.
Maybe
I see too many people like that across the internet and in real life to believe that.
a
lot of people are perfectly capable of thinking and reasoning, and they just choose not to instead. That's my experience.
Yeah.
It's not that they have any kind of mental thing. They choose to be a dumbass and act like they're smart.
Yes, it seems to be a condition that a lot of people who are on the internet a lot just have. People will like always joke about, oh, I have ADHD, but it's this encouraged behavior of the internet that is making people just.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's always been that way. You know,
It has, but it
I
does
think
not
people have
help.
always been this stupid and this low, low attention span. The internet just pretty much revealed just
It
how many of
is,
them were out there.
yes, it is human to be like that, to want to do the easiest thing, to want to do the most satisfying thing, and you need to help yourself. Like, if you allow yourself to be this mindless and lazy about it, then yeah, go ahead and enjoy the consequences of
You'll
that.
get the life that goes along with that.
hmm You know,
Jesus
we are.
Christ.
I just am surprised because we are reading a book. It is probably the slowest form of gaining like a fictional entertainment like that, and we are still getting that in this field, like these people supposedly want to read books and they're still acting like that. So I am
Shitty.
scared to go anywhere else. Like,
You seem to have a believing that dumb people don't read books too, you know?
I just think, I'm like, oh, good for you, picking up a book,
No.
doing it old school. Like,
Oh God, no.
I'm like, I'm just surprised.
You
But,
are?
I don't go on the internet that much. I don't really know that many people, so especially people who read books. The only people who read books that I know are generally pretty smart. They're thoughtful and insightful. They slow down and think a little bit. So,
No.
ugh, I don't like it. I hate these.
You're starting to make Sheta feel like Sazed, Joe.
Oh, Joe, this is your goal. You're trying to break me. I don't want to do that. Oh my God. Please, if you like these ones, let me know and encourage me to keep doing them. If you hate them, though, let us know so that we can tell Joe to stop making us do it.
And let us know in the form of an incredibly long, incredibly vague review with no capitalization whatsoever.
Just say, I hate Justin, I hate Sheta, I hate Joe. This podcast sucks.
No, it can't be hate, because if you say, I hate, that's a perfectly reasonable thing. You've got to be like, oh God, how would you even do it?
Well, that's just exactly how one of the reviews was.
It'd have to be Joe sucks, Justin sucks, Sheeta's lame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'd need to differentiate it
More
a bit.
vague. Okay. Sorry, I was too direct of an opinion there. I have to have a
Exactly.
vague and unsatisfyingly annoying opinion about it.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Okay. I can't even do it right. I don't understand these people.
All right, next review. Here's a short one. Terrible world building compared to other greats. Childish content compared to Game of Thrones.
Oh God.
Oh,
Is that his
yes, 'cause
big
that's-
grown-up book he's read? Oh my goodness.
And that's the whole review.
Oh, well, it is less world building than other books that exist somewhere have had, and it is less mature themed than Game of Thrones. So I guess he's not wrong. To go 1 star seems a bit extreme, though. That also doesn't necessarily a complaint.
Why are these so bratty sounding? Like, it's not as good as last year. Like, it's so bratty.
Because these are adult children.
Okay, 1 star. Like, you had to feel the need to go write 1 star. It's not like Game of Thrones. Like,
it was
it's not
nothing like Game of Thrones. I hated it.
Man, why are
Father,
people?
kill him.
It's like, are they just like, it has to be it's not as dark as Game of Thrones, so it's bad and childish. It's like, really? Childish? Did we read the same book? I know I did.
Not for children. Like,
yeah, but it had less mature stuff than Game of Thrones, which means it was bad.
gosh.
All right.
Because
Go to the
mature violence, sex is good. That's what it is. No violence and sex is bad. That's how it works.
That sounds pretty immature to me.
Ah.
All right. Here we go.
And wait, I'm sorry. This is specifically for the second book, not the first book, or?
Yes.
Oh, did he read the first book? Because that seems like a weird complaint to have about this book specifically. Like, I love the first one, but the second one isn't Game of Thrones. Unlike the first one, which was Game of Thrones.
He's reading the wrong books in the wrong order.
Maybe he read, Game of Thrones, the first book, and then accidentally read this book and was really
I'm
pissed
saying.
off about it. Yeah.
Because, he's not calling it the series.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he means the book.
So
He
maybe
probably
we're being really hard on the guy. Maybe this makes perfect sense.
Like, I should
Bill?
reply. Can we reply? Like, hey, you're reading the wrong
No.
book.
What's the second Song of Ice and Fire book?
Clash of Kings.
You gotta read
Clash of Kings, Well of Ascension. It's the same kind of title. I can see how you'd get confused.
All right. Here you go. Next one. This one's a little bit longer. I really enjoyed the first book. The plot was interesting. The characters were great. Ben's character development was amazing and felt like it plateaued to a great character with a great background. But then the second book came and just ruined her character for me. She went from an apparently strong-natured girl who was starting to trust others and so on, and suddenly the author decided to make her one of the most one-dimensional characters I've read. Mind you, I haven't read that many books yet, but I've played a lot of games, so that's pretty bad considering game stories aren't often great.
You're playing the wrong games, bro.
All I got from her was she basically hated Kelsier, she loved Elend, and that Elend is a good man, a better man than Kelsier. The author decided to drill those facts into our heads almost every chapter, for the entire freaking book. Say it once, it's enough. There was a certain amount of emphasis needed for it, I suppose, by the end, but it was horribly executed.
I kind of feel sorry for this guy. He seems like he has to be kind of young if he hasn't. I don't know. It seems like a kid writing to me. Do you get that vibe, Sheta, or no?
I get that vibe from all these reviews.
Okay. Not an adult child, like somebody. I don't know. Just it seems like a misinterpretation of what the goal was. Especially you only get the vibe that she hates Kelsier. I think it's pretty apparent that it's more complex than that. So yeah, that's definitely not what I read.
Yeah, to me, it really comes off as she is bitter and upset that Kelsier's dead after being like a father figure that she was close to, and that's her way to vent.
Yeah, if this guy's main idea is from games that don't have good story, I don't actually know what he was meant by that, so I won't comment much more.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is the story in that?
Well, there's a story. It's just not that deep.
It's not that deep, yeah.
He's hungry, and the ghosts are also hungry, I guess. So that's the story.
All right. Elend was an okay character in the first book, a love interest, which I thought was necessary, bearing the fact the main character was a young girl. But then they decided to make his lore. I'll just say how they wrote it. But then they decided to make him roll larger, very large.
What?
Please always read these as written, Joe. It's very helpful.
Yeah. Can't help
He wasn't a good king, and the author knew that. There might have been a way to make it work, but Brandon couldn't do it. He felt like a loser almost the entire book, and when his character changed, it felt off and forced. It was just terrible. His small quirks, like always starting a sentence with, "Now see," I thought smiled at first, but it began to grate on me.
Is this like a translated thing? He thought smiled at first, but started to grow on him? Is that what he said?
So we told him to read it as is, so keep going.
No. This is useful. Because if this is a, not native English speaker, that would explain he hasn't read a lot of books yet thing. So maybe there's something there.
No, Justin, don't give him that excuse.
Oh, I don't know. Could be.
Even during the first book, and during the second, which cemented my feelings for this author can't write romance well. I felt this kind of story and setup warranted a romance aspect, but he just couldn't pull it off, and that was just disappointing and hard to read.
I mean, we've had other people who complain that they don't like how the romance was portrayed in this book, so that's interesting.
There were parts of the book that I did enjoy, though. However, they all appear to have eluded me. Therefore, I would have given it 3 stars. I am, however, giving it 1 star for simply my personal opinion and enjoyment of the story. I personally hated how often Ben badmouthed Kelsier in this book, then praised Elend. a piece of shit character that really wasn't anything special.
Whoa.
Not Mistborn powers
Jesus.
related, but character-wise.
Was this
Whoa,
the same
whoa, whoa.
review?
Yes. Yep.
That fucking escalated fast. Holy shit.
Throwing swears in there. My goodness.
Okay, so there were things he liked, but they eluded him, so he doesn't like them, I believe was said. And then fuck Elend. And he's pissed that Kelsier is being badmouthed all the time. This went... I've tried to follow this, and it took so many left turns, I don't even know where we are anymore. I am so confused. That started out as fairly reasonable for an opinion and ended with, I think somebody stole the keyboard from this guy.
One of my biggest pet peeves, which admittedly I've only ever seen happen one other time as my source example, is when the author spends an entire book, i.e. book 1, or in the source's case, the first season, making me like a character, in this case Kelsier, then spending the entire next entry of the story badmouthing him constantly. Seriously, why would you ever do that?
What?
And that was basically all I got from Vin.
There was so much Kelsier love. What is he talking about? Also, I really want to know what show he's referencing, too.
I didn't even care how much Elend kept praising him, because I thought Elend was a shit character to begin with. But it pissed me off to no end how much Vin kept trash-talking Kelsier in some form.
She was basically trying to romance Kelsier. I think he missed that thing.
I'm sure I could have worded my complaint better, but that is the main reason I couldn't stand this book. Even disregarding the horrible writing that times had wondering if I was reading fan fiction instead of a legitimate sequel. And to be honest, I've read a few fan fictions of other material. Some of them were much better than this, which is quite sad.
Jeez, and now he's dissing fan fiction. Okay, so he hasn't read much books, but he has read enough fan fiction to comment on them.
Well, you could have fan fictions of video games.
Yeah, duh. Yeah, I guess you're right. This guy's super interesting to me. I want to know more about him.
I think I'll take a break from this series for a few days before I start the third book, and wait till the raw hatred for the characters dissipates from my head. Reading my review again, I'm not very great at explaining my problems with it. I've read a few other lower-starred reviews here, though, and have agreed on most of the criticism others have brought up. And that's the end of the review.
At least this person is honest. Is humble enough to say that they did not make as much sense as I'm sure they hoped to.
I don't think it's just a emotional fueled rant about it.
Yeah, I think I think if they hate
like,
Elend so much, they're not going to enjoy this next book so far.
Yeah, like I felt even about Elend in this book about like, wow, he's rolling way too big right now. Like,
Oh my god,
but...
you wrote the review, Sheta. That's why you were so mad, because it was you.
No, it's not me.
All right, here we go. Here's the next review. The Final Empire is a must-read. It's truly a great standalone fantasy book. But you should stop there if you are not a fan of any of the following. No spoilers.
Oh, yes. This is going to be good.
Oh,
prolonged introspection and insufferable self-doubt for your main characters. This is all throughout Well of Ascension and Hero of Ages.
That was all throughout the first book, too. I'd say there was more of it.
Characters evolving into completely different people in unbelievable timelines.
Unbelievable timelines. So just too fast? Or what?
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I would say, Jesus Christ, did Elend evolve slowly. Vin, too.
Changes/advances to the structure/foundation of the magic at seemingly convenient times.
As opposed to inconvenient times?
I mean, I guess they just assume, like, they're thinking, like, Deus Ex Machina. It's like, oh, suddenly Vin can do that, or that's the only way I can read that sentence.
Yeah, but that's how that works. You get in a moment and you push further and you discover something. I don't know, that's just like a story.
To me, everything was explained very well. She had duralumin early on. There's a reason for how she was able to find duralumin by searching for, alloys, and then it did exactly what she figured out it could do. Ferrochemy was explained about how it worked and stuff. Everything's explained.
Yeah, if it was just like, and then she found a new power within the metal with no I don't know. You know, when the writer writes themselves into a corner, that's very different. I don't know about that. And also that doesn't seem like something that wasn't in the first book as they were slowly revealing what the different metals did, you know. It
So I'm
just
like,
seems
you
weird
want
to love the
nothing to
first.
happen?
Yeah. It's just weird to love the first book and then hate the second book for these reasons so far, because most of this is in the first book too. But yeah.
I also feel like complaining about, oh yeah, this stuff seems to happen convenient times. Okay, what about Vin drawing on the mists? Was that not a convenient thing that had happened?
That would be probably the most convenient thing.
I'm like, this book is about stuff happening that is interesting. It's not convenient. It's just interesting things happening.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. And I mean,
it's like
that's how
if
it always
nothing.
is. Just some writers hide it more than others, you know.
Yeah,
So it's just
like
weird. Just, again,
this
yeah.
is all made up. Like it didn't really happen, and it's gotta be interesting.
It's just that he loved the first book. This is what I cannot get over about this.
Investing a lot of time/chapters into characters that ultimately contribute little to the overall story.
Like who?
Mm.
The one guy who wanted to overthrow Elend. That's the only one I could maybe think of.
You
And
mean
he
his friend?
got one
Zesty?
chapter.
Yeah, the guy with one chapter. Yeah. No, what you said, Joe. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the merchant guy whose name I do not remember.
That's the only one I can think of who didn't contribute that much to the story, except to show us the perspective of some of the, you know, people down there voting. Otherwise, I don't know who he'd be referring to.
And he also contributed because he's the one that brought Set into like the city.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying who I can think of that would have contributed less than other characters.
I don't know. Maybe they're upset that like Breeze didn't get a badass fight scene or something.
I mean, all the characters we were complaining about weren't getting enough screen time. So,
Who?
like all our old friends, the old crew.
Yeah, but they didn't get chapters about them.
Oh, I missed that part. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was specifically that focusing long portions on characters who didn't contribute to the story.
I see. Maybe they're thinking of Zane.
But Zane contributed too soon to the story.
Debatable.
And then last bullet point, religiously themed books. Make no mistake about it. This is a faith-based book.
Wait. And he liked the first book. He liked the first book, but doesn't like religiously faith-related books. So did he just like the religious bashing in the first book? Did he not understand the Sazed character at all?
Yay. This is the most infuriating part about these is that we don't get enough information. So we're just left with someone running in, punching me in the face, and then running out again before making any sense.
Welcome to the internet, Sheta.
Yeah, no thanks.
All right.
Like, what? Why? Why'd you do that? Like, why'd you say that?
I would love to dig up this guy's review of the first book. I would love to see that.
All right. Here we go. Next review. Awful. Like a cold and soggy fast food meal served with warm and flat soda. If I return to the series, then I deserve it.
Yeah, after that experience? God. What fast food have you been eating, man? That's terrible.
I mean, we've all been there. It sucks.
I don't know. Usually it's the bad fast food or the flat soda. Both.
Yeah, to get both,
I would get a refund. Yes.
That's a bad trip.
Yeah, I would never go there again. But he read the first one. That's the best part about these. So I assume the first one was also like that, and then when the second one was too, he's like, that McDonald's is off the list.
Next review. I tried. I really tried. But the writing is just plain bad, and the story here is nowhere near as compelling as the first one. Vin is a live journal emo. Elend is a wafy stumble bum, and everyone else is just nondescript.
I have
Except
never heard
Orseer.
Stumble bum.
What kind of a weird?
Except Orseer. Orseer was pretty cool.
Well, at least he has some taste.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, I mean...
But Elend, what a stumble bum.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to start using that.
A wafy stumble bum?
Yeah.
The book strains believably frequently. In one chapter, Vin is standing in a group of people powwow style, and she's described as whispering something discreetly to Orseer, standing next to her. Wait, what? How could you possibly do something like that discreetly? Wouldn't someone notice and ask what's up? This happens about every 10 pages, and you're pulled out of the story.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, did I miss something there? They were
They're just
sitting
saying that-
powwow style, and she whispered to her dog.
Orseer.
And
Oh, come on.
And
That happens
people-
all the time.
And they're just like, and they're just saying, everyone else should have noticed.
Like, whoa, that's too unbelievable. Just
okay, but here's the thing. A dog's senses are incredibly good. You would barely need to make a sound. That's all I'm saying there.
for me, I'm like, who cares? Like, why are you so bothered by little details like that?
I might
It's
be in a
just-
movie where I could see it, because then you'd see
Yeah,
what
but that would
volume
be
they're
really,
talking
yeah.
at. You know, but in a book,
Uh-huh,
I just
sure,
assumed that she
whatever.
was super,
What?
quiet
Miss
and
Borny and
nonchalant.
stuff? Yeah.
That's I think a better example of what the hell he's talking about would have been much better there. That seems like you imagined it like, hey, Orseer, like a joke version of that.
Yeah.
The first book was very good, George Lucas. Great story and world, questionable delivery.
What? Wait,
The se-
what? What did you just say? The first book was very good, George Lucas? Oh, it's gonna
Yep.
go on more. I see. Oh,
The
God,
second
no, I
book
don't want-
is terrible, 1990s George Lucas, where the story is
Oh.
boring and nothing makes sense. I don't understand all the love for this book. I can't recommend it.
Why didn't he
I
say it as
cannot.
97 George Lucas or 77 George Lucas or something? Why good George Lucas and 99 George Lucas? That's so confusing.
I don't know. Personally, I like all that George Lucas. I like
Well,
the prequel
I would
movies.
say, the romance in the original movies is much clearer on why they like each other than in the prequels. I have to do quite a bit of work in those. Stuff
I will
like
say-
that I could agree with.
I will give you that for Attack of the Clones. By Revenge of the Sith,
Mhm.
I think it's worked out.
Well, they're married. That's different. They've already had that part of the romance. And that's not a complaint. It's just,
It's just too many opinions. Like I'm trying to juggle it all. He's throwing me his George Lucas opinion. I can't.
yeah,
I
that's
can't
true. He's doing almost
gauge
mixed
it.
metaphors here.
Uh-huh.
If
Like, oh,
Orseer was a bit more like Jar Jar, I think we could have had something here.
yeah, Jar Jar level, maybe Attack of the Clones level. But Clone Wars, Jar Jar is.
So what, you're saying at the end, Zane should be like, Tensoon to me. Then, Misa a traitor.
Oh my gosh.
But the mistress has been a nicer to me. No, you
Because
must
he's
come.
Mario now.
Yes, it did turn into Mario there. I don't know why.
Ugh. This is just a whole torturous, unhappy time for me.
Alright, next review. It's a Brando Sando book, and I'm one of his biggest fans.
Oh my god.
However-
No, wait, come on. Don't drop that on us. And not
Oh
give
my
us a second to
God.
react. Is that a thing people say? Is that a thing in the
Oh.
community? Because if
Yes.
so, I may have to stop reading these books.
I do not want to be
People
part of a
do not-
community that
Not
says that.
everyone. Some people are not a fan of it, but some people do call him Brando Sando.
I am
Oh,
sorry. I am going to
stop.
put myself in the not a fan camp on that argument.
Oh my god, I hate it so much. I never want to hear it again. Oh.
Maybe Sheta, maybe in a different context, it would be better.
No, I hate it so much. Oh my god.
All right, let me get back. All right, so, it's a Brando Sando book, and I'm one of his biggest fans.
No!
However, I have no clue why Brand decided to ditch the fantastic oil painting and stuff this book with his boring two-color cover. Yuck.
What? Is
Clearly
that his
talking about
fault?
It's clearly talking about the UK covers.
Well, I'm going to be honest. If that's the version I was reading, I would also give the book a 1. So this guy knows where it's at.
For
I
the
am one of-
cover?
I am one of biggest Brandon's fans. I study his methods keenly and try to emulate them into my writing. Great story and great writing,
You
by
sure
the way.
about that? You
There
sure
are not-
Oh
about
my
that?
gosh!
There are
Did
not
Tommy
many
Wiseau
authors
write
who
this
can write
review?
like this. So
What was
it's
that,
actually a
Sheta?
good.
I said, did Tommy Wiseau write this? You gotta read it in his voice now.
So
It's actually a
so
good
he
review.
likes.
He likes the book. He just hated the UK cover.
Well, bro, I found my people. I'm a Brando Sando now. Like I just
Oh
am.
my god!
Because
No.
this is the first guy who spoke any sense tonight.
I hate this.
I'm not for
I don't know
book
if I...
burning, okay? I'm not for it, but in the case of those UK covers, I think we should bring it back. That's all I'm saying.
Man, we're gonna have listeners who love the UK cover.
Well, I'm sorry.
every time we look at covers. Whenever I say UK, Justin just groans.
I'm sorry. We just are gonna have to agree to go to war on opposite sides there.
All right, Sheta, anything to add to that book cover review?
I don't know if I can continue the podcast being part of a group that came up with that nickname for our writing.
I'm sorry, but you are contractually obligated.
No.
But I will promise you, I will never use that name.
But you know I will.
No, Justin. Oh my gosh.
So Joe, what's
I
our
get it,
next
like-
Brando Sando experience?
Oh my gosh, stop.
I don't know because
Oh.
I do not know exactly when this will be released.
Ah.
This 1-star thing could come out. I don't know when, so we could be on a completely different book.
So shit, I was thinking about Brando Sando's writing style recently.
Justin?
What?
Oh my. Do not. I will come
oh.
over and choke you.
Okay, I'll stop for now.
All right.
I'll only use it when it's
Goodness.
organic.
Oh my gosh, stop. Oh, I could see it maybe being typed out, but saying it, oh my gosh. It literally makes me cringe. Like my whole body is like, yeah.
Why don't they call him Brand Sand? That's what I'd do.
Because
For typing?
yeah, it's I will never say it.
Like,
I'll
yeah,
never say it.
the newest Brand Sand book was quite good. Like, that's a lot better, right?
It's not as
it's not-
annoying.
It's not like the word Sanderson is that hard to say or type.
Oh, that's 3 whole freaking syllables, man. That's too much.
No,
Here's the
it's
real
Brando
just such a
question.
Sando is
cool
4.
attitude.
Is Brando Sando
Stop
spaced
saying
between
it.
the two?
Yes.
Or is it one word? Okay, so it is 2 words. All right, good to know.
So this will be the end of this episode, but it wasn't the planned ending. Where the recording actually wound up taking a lot longer than I'd expected, and I don't really want these 1-star reviews to be like 2.5, 3 hours long, whatever this one came to. So I'm just splitting it here. So later we will be releasing the second half and some even more 1-star reviews of Mistborn, Well of Ascension. And I'm going to try to do a better job, so when I do Hero of Ages, it's not going to be as long. So this is it for now. In the future, there will be more, whether you enjoy it or not. And especially not whether Justin and Sheta enjoy it. So yeah, bye everyone.